Yes, a new phone for Christmas. But wait a minute. How do I get all of my WhatsApp chats, photos, and even the emojis to this new phone without losing anything? Don't worry. With Dr.Fone, you can transfer everything to your new phone seamlessly. Chats, contacts, photos, and apps, even between Android and iPhone. It's easy. Type Dr.Fone into the Google search bar and click the link. Download and install the software. Connect both phones to a laptop with cables. Click WhatsApp transfer on the software interface. Follow the easy instructions on the screen. See? That's it. All my WhatsApp chats and memories are safe and sound on my new phone. It even works with over 8,000 devices. Don't stress about losing your memories. Make your new phone feel like home with Dr.Fone. Tap the link in my bio to try it now and transfer your data the easy way. Let's keep every chat, bot, and emoji safe this Christmas.
What's it, go ahead.
And it's your ghost Rose, and welcome back to the channel. So, we got into our first big fight on camera, actually it was a while ago, but I feel like y'all could have cut the tension in the room with a knife the day that we fought. And we thought it would be a really cool, fun, interesting idea to just share with you guys kind of like what that was about. Because now that the dynamics of our relationship has changed, right? The things that we fight about are interesting. They're definitely nowhere near the same intensity. The romantic aspect is dead, right? But like you would think that we didn't have that much to fight about, but I'm like, oh my god, like sometimes it's not often or whatever, but when we do get into it,
sometimes I just get really mad that you complicate more than necessary, and I look at your butt and I get unmad. That's how it is, really. Okay. But anyways, let's get into it. Gohan is not here, regardless of how much like you see him like all the time or whatever. Like he's not here. I mean, damn near. Like you're here almost every day or I'm here,
whatever.
but not here.
Yeah, so because he doesn't stay here. But this one particular day, I think it had been like 2-3 days since he had like come around, and Savon was just like asking for him every day. He was like, "Mom, like I want to see Dad. Where's Daddy?" So I called him this particular day. I want to say it was about 11 o'clock in the afternoon. And I was literally like, "Hey, what are you doing? Whatever, da da da." And he's like, "Oh, I'm at a park, whatever, da da da. I just got outside, feel like I need to take a walk," like all this stuff. I hand the phone to Savon because I was like, Savon wants to talk to you or whatever. Savon's like, "Daddy, where are you?" And he goes, "Hey buddy, I'm at the park." And he's like, "Do you want me to come get you?" And Savon is like, "Yeah." And so he's super excited. He's like, "I'm gonna go to the park with Daddy." He's like freaking out. So I'm like, "Okay, cool." I'm like, "Give me an ETA. I'm gonna get them ready, whatever, da da da." And he's like, "I can be there like in an hour, right?" Gohan has his own things going on or whatever. Realistically, it shouldn't take him an hour, but he has to figure certain things out. So it was gonna take him a hot minute. I was like, okay, perfect. Me being the mom that I am, even though he didn't talk to P, I automatically assumed that he was taking Saphir as well. So I get both of them ready, brush their hair, put on cute little park fits, you know what I'm saying? Bundle them up. It's cold. I'm like, yeah, the boys are gonna have like a cute little day at the park with their dad. I'm gonna get some me time, you know? They're gonna be gone for like an hour or two. So like, I was really excited. Gohan comes to the door, boop, 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 knocks on the door. He's like, "Hey, you said I'm here to pick up the kid."
Pick up Savon. Huh?
Yeah. And I'm like, even though he had like said it, I was still like under the impression that he was just gonna take like both kids. Like I didn't even think that I had to ask for clarification because like I don't separate my kids. I'm like, everywhere that I go, like I don't have necessarily the leisure of taking like one and not the other. So I'm like, I always go everywhere with both. It just didn't even cross my mind. He sees me like getting Savon's shoes on and then I'm getting P's shoes on, and he goes, I think that's when it starts clicking for him. He's like, "Why is P putting his shoes on?" And I was like, "Because both of them are going to the park." And he goes, "Oh, no, no, no. I can't take both of them to the park. Like, I just came here to get Savon. Like, Savon was the only one that I was thinking that I was, like, taking to the park." And y'all, I don't know why that infuriated me. I literally looked at him. I think you were probably like, "Yo, what is going on with you?" Because I, like, snapped in 2.5 seconds. I was literally like, either you're taking both of them to the park or you're not taking either one of them to the park. And you were looking at me, you were like, "Yo, like, what is your deal?" And I'm like, "You're not taking one and like leaving the other." I'm like, "What is the reason for you to not take both kids to the park?" Like, it just didn't make sense to me. Like, I'm bugging at him at this point or whatever, and I was like, yeah, like I said, either you're taking both of the kids or you're not taking either one. That's just like how I'm I'ma be in this situation. I think what really like exasperated the situation when I was like, give me a good reason why you don't want to take both of them to the park. Like, this is just not making sense to me right now. I'm thinking like, there's so many good things that he could have said. He could have said like, I just want to spend quality time with Bun today, and then I'll come back and get P maybe another day, spend some quality time with him, like whatever. None of that. What did you say?
I think my reasoning was what ticked you off, not the fact that I didn't take them both, because I said to you, I'm taking Savon, I can't handle them both at the same time, because a couple of days prior to that, I took them both and I almost went crazy, because like P's running to the where the cars are, and then Savon's like trying to eat dirt and stuff, so I'm like, oh. Zafir, don't go there, and then he won't listen, you know that, right? And Savon,
he don't listen to you, he listen to me.
And look, oh, you're right. Savon, don't eat dirt. And then he's like, okay, daddy. And then he looks at me until I look away, and then he starts doing weird stuff with his hands.
He's obsessed with like rocks and stuff. I won't be surprised if he's like
he's already a collector,
a geologist when he grows up and stuff. Because like, I swear, every single time we go to the park before we leave, we have to be like, empty your pockets. Just rocks.
I think he's gonna be the type to grow up to know like 50 grasshoppers and 20 types of dirt.
Yeah.
But I was like, my reasoning is that I feel overwhelmed when I take them both because of those reasons we just talked about, and so I'll just take Savon. I can't take them both. I'll come back for a pee today or something. So it's not about them both getting the time. For you, it's more about my attitude about how nonchalant I'm about having the control over taking them both, one or none at a time. So because you didn't have the leisure or
luxury
to do that, because you had to go with them both, or you had no choice but to not go at all. So I think that's what ticked you off. But like at the time, I didn't even think about it like that. Well, because
you said that. You literally were like, well, I have you. Like, why would I need to do this by myself when I have you? Right. And I was literally like, you did not just freaking say that to me. I was so hot. I was like, you did not just say that to me. Because I was literally like, dude, do you recognize who you're talking to? Like, I had to do this whole thing by myself for so long. And it's like, I gave the grocery shopping analogy. I'm like, I don't get to go shopping, like, when it's just me with my kiddos and be like, okay, well, I'm going to take Savon getting the grains and vegetables, and then
come back.
Like, I'm gonna come back, and then I'm gonna go get P, and then I'm gonna go to the same store, the fruits, the proteins. Like, as a single parent, you don't get the luxury of picking and choosing, you know, when you can do certain things with your kids. It's like, we all gotta go together, we all move as a unit, you know what I mean? So I think that when he had kind of highlighted, well, I have you. Like, you know, like, you can hang out with Pete and I'm gonna hang out with Savon. Like, when I come back, we switch kids. And I'm like, well, when I was single momming it up, did I have anybody to switch kids with? Now, in retrospect, right, it wasn't that big of a deal.
At all, right?
At all. Like, it wasn't that big of a deal. I think it was just the overall essence of the conversation and the nature of certain things that were being said, like, really got to me.
But you can see how it escalated from something actually meaning nothing to like, well, I didn't get to do that when I was a mom, and you're literally like, and I'm like, no, but like, things are not like that black and white, and like, we're here now, so like, it's both of us that can work for the kids. And they're like, that's correct, but you're dismissing my experience. And I'm like, well, they don't have to go together, they're brothers, but they're not like, you know, a set. They're individuals. You know, it gets philosophical and stupid. And stuff.
I definitely can admit now, like, looking back on the situation, that I was I obviously like projecting, but I feel like rightfully so, because there was a part of me that's literally like, yo, like, I didn't have you. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't have somebody to be like, hey, yo, do this for me, whatever. Like, it was always like we moved as a unit. And I feel like when you're a single parent, there's just so many limitations. You know what I mean? And it's always like, my kids gotta come first. I gotta take them together. Anywhere I go, they go. I don't know. Part of me was like, maybe you took that experience for like granted. And it was like you were almost taking me for granted, is like how I felt in the moment. I know that you weren't. Like, looking back on things, you probably weren't even thinking about that. You were literally just thinking about, well, I tried this. Like, it was stressful for me when I did it the first time, and I was looking more so from a different lens, different perspective, and I was literally just like, you were saying like it was hard, right, to watch both of them at the same time, but at the same time, I'm coming from a place of, I was like, that was my experience every day. Waking up every morning, taking care of 2 kids by myself, brushing their teeth, doing the breakfast, doing all that stuff by myself, and I'm like, you have the luxury. And it shouldn't be a luxury. Kids should have both of their parents in their lives to a certain capacity. And I say that loosely because there are some people out there that don't deserve to be having children. Sometimes a 1-parent household is better than a 2-parent household. But when it's like,
I don't really know how to explain it. Like, it was just such a triggering experience for me because I'm like, you have me. I'm trying to suck it up and be better because I know that you're here now, and I don't want to invalidate that experience or let it continue to fester, you know, like moving on, because I really do appreciate you coming back and all the work that you're doing to be present for the boys. For sure. So I don't want to like hold that against you or whatever. You know, like I think you're doing a good job and you're showing up in any way that you can. And I think that it's really important to recognize, like, at the end of the day, like, my best isn't your best and your best isn't my best. You know what I mean? So like, if you're trying to the best of your capabilities and all that you can and all that you're able to offer, just being more like recognizing that more is something that I need to work on or whatever, because at the end of the day, like, you're trying. But that was really like, that was to date probably the biggest argument that we've had.
I took both of them in the park, and I didn't have to see it or hear it to see from miles away that you're on your phone telling your mom, and she's like, oh, and then you're telling your friend, like, what's wrong with him? And you're telling everybody, right? You're like, this is ridiculous, he's entitlement. This going on.
I think that's what it was. There was a certain level of entitlement. A certain level of entitlement that just bothered me so much that day that I was literally like...
Which I, to a shallow level, recognize and I'm trying to get out of myself, like that entitlement, because I grew up entitled and it's just a part of you. But then, like, the hardest part of getting entitlement out of yourself isn't that, like, you see it as something wrong and then you can take it out. It's like, you don't even see what's wrong about it is the problem about entitlement. Because that's, like, how you think is what entitlement is. How I think is that it's perfectly natural and okay and not a big deal that I pick and choose what I need if I have the resources to. That's like the entitlement that I have. That was the problem that you felt. That right. I don't see a problem.
The key word is if you have the resources to. You have the resource right. of having another parent. I didn't. Listen, and I think that's what it was.
The resources will be cooked up on the spot as people justify. That's especially entitled people.
And I just felt like in that moment it was a little bit almost like, I don't want to say abusive of the situation, but it's literally just like, well, you're here. It's like, I didn't have that. I didn't have the, well, you're here. And I'm like, I'm recognizing the fact that he's present now, but he wasn't always. Like, you know, so just to kind of just be like, well, she's here. I had to kind of just like do it on my own. And I'm trying hard to like, you know, break out of the cycle or the mentality or whatever. Because like what matters is that you're here now, but that doesn't mean that there's not still a certain level of, I don't want to say resentment. Because it's not resentment. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not walking around here being like, oh my God, like, I hate him or whatever. It's not that, but it's literally just like, there was a lack of consideration from you, I feel like.
That's true. That's true. And yeah, sometimes when we talk and it gets heated, it's like, I start to say, why are you letting the stuff that happened in the past get in the way of our present and the future? And then you feel like I'm dismissing your experiences or emotions a lot. And that's like a main clash. One of the...
Yeah, because like the past doesn't have to define your future.
Right.
But it does shape it. You know what I mean?
But what you felt is what you felt, and I can't just dismiss it or pretend it didn't happen or I didn't cause you pain type stuff. Like, and then I try to pretend it never happened almost, so that and then use the excuse of, you know, having a better future or doing better and forgetting about the past type stuff. But it's not black and white actually.
I think there's a certain level of self-awareness that needs to come from the situation, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Just like I have to be hyper aware of, like, regardless of how it is that I feel about you at any given point in time. Because I feel like if you've been in this situation with a co-parent and stuff like that, then there are certain times where, you know, like, you'll be having a good day or whatever, and this, like, something pops up. Like, we could be laughing, right? I'm like, this is so funny, we're having such a good time. And then something that he did pops up to my head, and it's just... I remember, you know what I mean? And
yeah, the mood switches 180.
Right. And he doesn't get it because he's just like, we were cool 2 seconds ago. Why are you being, you know, a weirdo now? And I'm literally just like, bro, you don't even understand. Like, right. You don't even understand.
I'm sitting there like complaining. Well, I get that it happened. And I get that sometimes it haunts you, but like, why does it have to go from literally a happy mood to like a horrible mood all of a sudden type stuff? But like at the same time, it takes emotional maturity and growth to recognize it. It's just that's actually it's just gonna happen. It's more natural. It's like stuff are gonna pop up in people's head, the stuff from the past, and I can't just sit there and negate people feeling about it and gaslighting and blaming them for like ruining the mood type stuff.
It's tough because, like I said, it's about like forgiveness, right? It's like you forgive, but you never forget, and I think that that's the hardest part because we're working towards
forgiveness, like, you know, and then just like certain things will pop up and it's literally just like, I don't know how to explain it. I was literally like, whew, that took me to another level for sure. Granted, like, you know what I mean? Like, it didn't need to get to that level, but I just feel like this is the first time that we're trying to navigate and actively have a healthier dynamic, right? And so it's like when I have those rules where it's literally like, you can come over, come see the babies whenever you want. And then that's our one connection at the end of the day, is that we have these two little babies together.
I feel like if you work on letting go and I work on not being a defensive, dismissive jackass.
I didn't say it.
That's my way of shortening it into 3 words. Dismissive and defensive jack. Because that's where a lot of private problems arises. And I didn't notice in the past, but emotions are everything when it comes to people conflict, or like, you know, ideology conflict type stuff. When we ever feel upset at each other or don't agree with each other's stuff, mastering emotions is the key. So after I took both kids to the park and I, you know, walked around, it was hard too, but I kind of did sometimes have the time to self-reflect, if that makes sense. And I was like, oh, I see how it could be hurtful to her when I'm just like dismissing her emotions, basically. So I did apologize to you that day, like kind of shallowly, but me right now, I'll apologize again because I have a better understanding. I had more time to understand how that might have felt. So I'm sorry again.
Oh, I'm sorry too. Because like I said, I didn't need to bug out. I feel like I could have more kindly and properly like explained my emotions instead of, because I feel like I was dismissive to a certain extent too. Like I said, it wasn't like we weren't screaming, yelling at each other or anything like that, but I literally just looked him dead in his face and I was literally like, either you take both of my kids to the park or you're not taking either one of them. Like, you just drove, did whatever you had to do, an hour to get over here. You're gonna take that hour back by yourself if you don't take both of these kids to the park. And I do feel like I was being like very stubborn. And, you know, like I could have been a little more sensitive and properly communicated.
Well, I guess it's a happy ending because we won't really have a problem. I'll probably take them both.
Yeah, it happened how it happened. Coulda, shoulda, woulda type situation or whatever. But I'm glad that it happened so that like we can grow from it. Because that really did open the door to healthier communication. Because like after like I kind of talked it out and tried to articulate why I was so upset. I really did feel like that allowed us the opportunity to become closer in understanding so that like we can just be more sensitive to each other and our dynamic and how we're gonna work together to just raise our voice.
Right. This is one of those videos that you don't need to hear the rest of the stories. You can just get this one example and kind of imagine how other problems unfolded. But like we would appreciate if in the comments you guys have anything to say about this, or give advice to us, or like tell us about your experience on your relationships, then that would be much appreciated. And yeah, that's pretty much all for today's story, right?
Yeah. At the end of the day, we learned from it, we grew from it, we're better for it.
And visibly too, in this aspect. We grew like literally visibly. Thanks for watching today's video. If you like this video and if you want to see more videos, don't forget to like and subscribe, but also tuning in for more
videos!
Bye!